Hello friends, this is Cara-Renee with Be Reborn Art and Healing. Today I'm creating for Shawn Petite's creative team, creating this beautiful recycled box. This is the wood box that I'll be creating on. I picked up at the Goodwill or secondhand store, and some of the stencils I'll be using and the background papers. All of these papers are from Shawn Petite's collage packs, and you can find those at shawnpetite.com. She has a great variety, and it's pretty much all I use these days. So now I'm just picking my collage papers. I decided to go ahead and do collaging on the whole box. I had previously gessoed the box, and I could not get some of that orange paint. I don't know what kind of paint it was. It was like an old folk art kind of painted box, and I just couldn't get the gesso to cover over all of that bright color. So I decided I would go ahead and just collage over it. So it worked out great for this project. I'm going to be adhering my papers, or I am adhering my papers with my Liquitex matte medium. And I just love this rose paper. Roses are my favorite, especially of the pink variety. So I wanted this piece to be really feminine and not too overdone, and I feel really satisfied with how it turned out. And I can't wait to show you the stenciling technique that I use using her flower spray stencil, which has the rose and some hydrangeas. I believe they're hydrangeas. So here I'm just going to be moving around all of the sides of the box, and I am wrapping around the sides, not top and bottom, just around all the corners, because I just wanted all the white space to be filled up, and I really like that continuous look of wrapping it all the way around. And again, all these papers are from various collage packs from Shawn's shop. And then here is the top of the box. And I wanted it to be a little bit less, I wanted it to have a little bit less color. I didn't want it to compete with my my flower spray that is going to go onto the top of the box. So that's why I chose this lighter paper. I don't know that I actually achieved that, because I couldn't help myself but bring in more of that other rose print paper, as you can see there on the right hand side of the top of the box. And I am coming all the way around the edges again. I really love that look, and I love being able to bring the texture around the sides as well as the top of the substrate. And so here I just picking scraps. I just tear them really thin and fill in those spaces on the edges of the box. It's not a very deep lid, so that's what I'm doing there. And then I really liked this word sunshine, even though when I did put the flower spray on, it completely was covered up pretty much. I think you can see a little bit at the top. And this is the technique that I'm going to be using, which is similar to the one I did with the angel wings that I put on my channel. But I loved it so much that I wanted to give it another try here. So I'm mixing my Liquitex modeling paste with this pink paint. What color was it? I'm sorry, it was I'm not sure what the color was. It was a magenta or fuchsia of some kind. I wanted it to be bright because I knew that the texture paste or modeling paste was going to dull it down, which it did. And I wanted a pink base because I was starting with the red family for the rose. So I figured that was a pretty safe color. And I even went over the leaves with it as well. So I'm just applying a really, really thorough coat, and then going from right to left as well to smooth that out. And then I set that aside to dry. And now I'm coming in with my Nuvo expanding mousse, and this is the color Mustard Seed. I've used the gray matter, and I think I used this on something else, but I'm not sure what it was off the top of my head. But I really like what it does through this lace stencil, because it just leaves bits and pieces of texture, which you'll see in the close-ups is just gorgeous. So I did want to show you the drying there, as well as what the expanding mousse looks like after it's dried. It's just amazing. It bubbles up and then it dries hard. And you can see it there. The color is changing as the heat tool is hitting it. Wonderful. I love it. Love it. I'm not sure why I haven't used it more than I have, but there's just a flash of each of the sides of the box. And then on the top of the box, I'm only going to do it on the edges of the sides of the lid, not on the top. Because again, I didn't want anything to compete with my focal point on this project, which is the flower spray stencil that I'm doing. And the reason why I really liked that technique is because I was successful at it because it was very dimensional. I was able to just apply it on a piece of thin chipboard and then let it dry and cut it out. And it was just gorgeous. And there was just, I'm going to come in with the raw umber fluid acrylic and my golden glazing medium. And I'm going to go ahead and do a raw umber glaze over all of the sides of the box, as well as the lid, as you'll see here in a moment. And I do speed through this as well. On this, I really just wanted it to have a little bit more of an antiqued look, which I believe I did achieve. You'll see in the end that I do add some waxes to the raised parts of that texture because it just felt like it needed a little pop of color. So you'll be able to see that in the end. And so again, just a really generous coat of the raw umber glaze. And then pulling that back with my baby wipe. And I really love how that turned out. So I wanted to make sure that this texture paste was completely dry. It probably could have set a little bit longer, but I was multitasking and I really needed to get this done. So I just kept moving along. I do hit it with the heat tool again. And there's just me kind of pressing down the raised bits that pulled up when I pulled the stencil up. But it's just a wonderful technique. I can't wait. I'm going to try it again and try to do a whole bouquet of flowers with Shawn stencils because they're gorgeous. And I really love the three-dimensional look that I got from doing this. And it's a little difficult to cut out, but not terrible. And this is the fluid acrylic in quinacridone crimson. And so that's what I'm starting as my base color for my rose. I do bring in some of a purple crimson mix to create some darks, as well as I combine the crimson with a sap green because that creates a really nice dark brown, which was great for the shadows. And that I wasn't sure if that was actually a leaf or a petal. It's now a leaf. And so I was just going to go with that. And then here I'm just mixing in some of the, that's the ultramarine violet from Golden Fluid Acrylics. And I loved the hue on this. It was just perfect. I didn't want it to be purple. I wanted it to have that crimson in it so that it would be so that it would match the tones of the rose, and it did. I was really, really happy with it. So I did come in with a smaller brush also and get into all the little crevices too. Not too terribly worried about that because I do a glaze over it as well, and that glaze settles into all the little holes and stuff. And here I'm coming in with the Deco Art Premium paint in green gold. Sorry, lost my mind there a second, as well as the sap green hue. Really, these are two of my favorite colors. I love the Deco Art Premium paint. My local store does not carry it any longer, but I will be seeking where to buy them online. So I come in with another layer of the sap green hue on top of that green gold. And then I'm also going to be touching the leaves with some crimson here in a moment. Coming back a little bit more with the green gold. I apologize for that. And then here's the crimson. I just really love that red tone brought into the leaves. I've done that in other projects and I really like it. And then, so I finished all of the leaves, and then coming back in with a little bit more of that, green gold. I wanted the highlights to be really, obvious here in the leaves. And then here's where I'm mixing up that crimson with a little bit more purple. It wasn't quite dark enough. So I'm going to bring in some of these sap green into that mixture as well, as you can see there on the right, to get some darker shadows in the innermost parts of the rose. And just, it was gorgeous. Like, I can't even believe that it turned out like it did. I did, after looking at it again, I did decide that it needed a little bit of a brighter red to brighten it up a little bit. And so this is just quin red, or quinacridone red, quin for short. The quinacridone colors are some of my favorites. And then here, coming in again with a raw umber glaze over that rose, that flower spray. And basically is all I'm using that for, is to get some color down into all the crevices and the cracks where my paintbrush didn't get paint. So that was the point of that. And then I'm coming in with the sap green along the edges of the box. I didn't decide if I was going to color the inside of the box or not. It is a solid wood box, and I almost want to leave it its original wood. So I'll determine that at a later date. But for now, I just decided to leave it. And I pulled out my Liquitex Heavy Gel because this textured flower spray is heavy with paint and with moisture. And so the Heavy Gel was just a dream to apply that. And there, I'm just pressing down with a baby wipe, just so I don't get my fingers sticky or transfer anything from my fingers to the project or vice versa. So I'm just using a baby wipe because it doesn't stick to the surface. And there's a close up of that texture. It's just absolutely phenomenal. I just love it. And then I am coming in with my General's charcoal pencil as usual, creating some dark edges along the top of the box, as well as the bottom, top and bottom of each side and the corners. Just gorgeous. After I stepped away, I decided I wanted to come back and apply some of the this is Art Alchemy wax in Fire Ruby. And I feel like it was just enough to bring some color to that expanding mousse texture that I had created. And I really was happy with it. I kind of regretted where it actually connected with the surface of the box. In some places, I did try to wipe it back a little bit with a baby wipe, but I just decided I was just gonna be okay with it. It just added a little bit of color. So I sure hope that you enjoyed this video and that you will check out all of the posts from Shawn Petite's creative team. We have a blast creating for Shawn. She's awesome, amazing, and we love her. Thank you for watching. Bye-bye.